Your Phoenix Grievance Committee presents a quick guide to bump and roll. In this video, we're going to follow along as several members exercise their seniority to its fullest extent. Please note, with the exception of station realignment and crew chiefs, members can choose to take a straight furlough to the street instead of exercising their seniority. We'll be ignoring any language regarding part-time crew chiefs as we don't have any in Phoenix. You will retain recall to your original classification and city if you choose to drop down to part-time, transfer cities, etc. Crew chiefs dropping to agent will not have recall to crew chief and will have to put in a transfer to upgrade back. This is just a summary. Please refer to Article 12 for details. Now let's meet Jimmy Crew Chief. He's a full-time crew chief hired in 2008. Well, one day he gets a notice. Furlough. Sorry, Jimmy. But luckily, he's already gone to bit.ly/fleet contract and downloaded his own copy of the contract. So let's follow along as he opens it up to Article 12 on page 37. I'll gloss over this part quickly, but let's say Jimmy's the most junior crew chief on the Phoenix ramp, and ramp's furloughing one crew chief. But Phoenix Cargo has one crew chief vacancy. Jimmy would be forced to go to cargo and fill that vacancy. The same would apply if there were no cargo vacancies, but Jimmy had more seniority than the most junior non-furloughed crew chief in Phoenix Cargo. This is the exact same process you'd go through first as a furloughed full-time or part-time agent as well. This is what it means when you hear the term station realignment. Now let's go on to the next step on paragraph B. However, on our way, let's make a pit stop on this section and explain. What this basically means is that if you get furloughed, you can't just drop from being a crew chief in Phoenix to, let's say, a full-time agent in Seattle. Or a full-time agent couldn't drop to a part-time agent in San Diego without first trying to drop down in your home station first. But more on that later. Here we are, Article 12B2A. What it means is if Jimmy gets furloughed in Phoenix but wants to stay crew chief and doesn't mind moving, he can check out the seniority list at another station. We'll use Orange County in this example. And if there's an opening or a full-time crew chief who hasn't been furloughed but has less seniority than Jimmy, Jimmy can transfer into Orange County and bump Junior out of his spot right here. Surf's up, Jimmy. But let's say Jimmy doesn't want to move to a different station. According to Article 12, B2B, he must then drop down from full-time agent if there is a full-time vacancy, or he's more senior than the most junior non-furloughed full-time agent in Phoenix. In this case, Jimmy is able to bump Junior, take his spot, and drop down from full-time crew chief to full-time agent. Well, what if Jimmy didn't have enough seniority to bump a junior full-time agent in Phoenix? Then what? Well, in this next part, we'll follow along as a full-time agent named Manny shows us the next step in the process. A reminder, if you're a full-time crew chief and you've already exhausted all the options mentioned so far in this video, your options are, with one exception, essentially the same as a furloughed full-time agent at this point. So follow along with Manny to see how you can still exercise your seniority. So let's say you're Manny, a Phoenix full-time stud of an agent hired in 2005. You've just got that email from the company saying, you've guessed it, furloughed. Let's head over to Article 12, Section 3, Subparagraph A, and explore your options, assuming station realignment has already happened. Well, Manny's got options. He can try exercising his right to fill a full-time agent vacancy, or bump the most junior, non-furloughed, full-time agent in another station and take their spot. Well, little known fact about Manny, he's a big fan of Bojangles, so he decides to try his luck in Charlotte. Luckily for him, he's got Junior beat by about 2 years. So Manny is able to bump Junior and take his spot, along with his delicious Boberry Biscuits. But what if Manny enjoys loading planes in 120-degree weather here in Phoenix and wants to stay here? Well, he's got two more options. One option he has is he can try to fill a Phoenix part-time vacancy or bump the most junior non-furloughed part-time agent here in Phoenix. In this case, Manny could drop down to part-time and remain in Phoenix, bumping Junior out of here. If he wanted to, Manny could decide to try filling a Phoenix crew chief vacancy or bump a junior Phoenix crew chief taking his spot. Crew chiefs who've worked their way down to this process already exercised this option earlier in the video. If Manny doesn't have enough seniority to do any of these options, there's still a few more things he can try. For that, we'll follow along with Anna next, as she shows us Jimmy and Manny's remaining options, as they're essentially the same once they get to this point. Now let's meet Anna. She's a part-time Phoenix agent hired in 2015. Well, you know the drill by now, furloughed. But don't worry, Anna, you've got a couple options explained here at Article 12 on page 41. Anna can try bumping up to full-time agent or full-time crew chief in Phoenix if there is a vacancy and she has more seniority than the most senior agent trying for that vacancy, or she could force her way into full-time agent or full-time crew chief position if she's got more seniority than the most junior non-furloughed member in that position. Please note two things. As a part-time agent, Anna cannot bump full-time agents or crew chiefs in other stations, only in her home station of Phoenix. Anna could also try filling a part-time vacancy in another station. In this example, we'll use Denver, assuming she's the most senior member trying for that vacancy. If there is no vacancy, she can use her seniority to bump the most junior part-time agent and take their spot. Well, unfortunately, we've reached the end of the road. If you've come this far and didn't have enough seniority to utilize any of these options, then you're furloughed to the street. Open up your contract and check out this table on Article 25 for some details on what happens when you're on a leave. I hope this video was able to clear things up. We went over some very confusing contractual language in a very short amount of time. Rewatch this video, pause it, rewind it, slow it down. If you have a friend not on Facebook, share it with them. If you have a question, ask a steward. Reach out to us on our hotline, Facebook, or email. We're here for you. I want to give a special thanks to my AGC Pat Resler for helping make this video and taking multiple literal midnight phone calls to get this video out on time. Thank you.